Hey, what's going on, people? It's your boy Jimmy again, and I'm coming at you with another tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to be going over how to do a low fade with the curl sponge on top. And just to go ahead and get right into it, I'm going to close the gap in my Oster Fast feed to create my guideline. And I want to make my guideline low because this is a low fade. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get everything cleared out so I can have a clear canvas so I can start creating the different levels to the fade. And once I get this done, I'll go ahead and come back at you with the next part of the haircut. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and work my way around to the other side. And the reason why I just go ahead and create my line around the other side is because so that my fade can be on the same level on each side. And as always, just make sure everything is really clean. Just make sure everything is really clean just so you have a smooth surface and you don't have any confusion in where you're going to start the next level of your fade. Alright, next I'm going to grab my number 2 guard. I skipped my 0 and my 1 guard and I went straight to the 2 to remove the bulk, because removing the bulk makes it a heck of a lot easier to fade up, because if you don't have all that weight in the hair and you can actually see a little bit of the scalp, it becomes less intimidating as you're fading the hair. So I'm going to go ahead and work my way all around the hair with the number 2 guard. Alright, now I have my number 3 guard, and as you notice, I'm going up a little bit higher. Alright, now I have my number 4 guard and I'm going in that same shape, and I'm actually using the same motion with my wrist, which is the flick out motion, just so I don't go into the fade and compromise the shape of the top of the hair. Alright, now I'm at the part of the haircut where I start doing the actual fading from the bottom to the top of the fade. So we're going to go ahead and start with my number 0 guard. And I'm going to go up about a 1/4 inch, and the reason I'm going up about a 1/4 inch is because I'm still working with a lot of hair, so I want to be careful not to go up too high. That way I don't have to start my fade or my transitions at a new spot. And another thing is that I started off with my blade closed, but as I go with that same guard, I'm gonna also open the gap in the blade. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I noticed some hairs that's actually hanging over the fade, and it's actually a little bit higher than where I initially started with my 0 guard. So I'm gonna have to work between open and close to get those little hairs. Now I've actually made it to the part where I'm using my number 1 guard, and I'm gonna go ahead and use that same motion in my wrist and go up about a 1/4 inch. And the reason why I'm going up a 1/4 inch again is because I don't want to go up too high in the fade, and a 1/4 inch gives me, it takes the fade up enough so you know that I have a transition, but also it doesn't get me too high in the fade to where I will have to change the shape or change the level of the fade. And as I did with my 0 guard, I'm also going to work between opening and closing the gap in the blade. Alright, now I'm back to my number 2 guard, and I'm going to go up about another 1/4 inch, and I have the gap in my blade all the way closed on this one, and that's because I need to actually take off a nice amount of hair in the next part of the fade, just so that transition can be shown. Alright, now just with my other guards, I'm going to go ahead and work between opening and then closing the gap within my blade. This is just so I can make any adjustment that I need to make in the tone of the haircut, just so it won't cause my fade to not be smooth from the top to the bottom of it. Alright, now I'm at the point where I'm pretty much at the top of the fade, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my number 3 guard and use my flick out motion with my wrist, and I have the blade actually closed on this one, and I'm pretty much at the top of the fade, and I'm almost done with this side besides some minor details. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab my number 3 guard, and I'm gonna adjust the blade between open and close based on the amount of hair that I need to take off. So I'm gonna go ahead and complete this phase, and then I'll come into the next part of the haircut. Alright, now at this point I'm just going back within the fade to make any minor adjustments. This causes it not to be 100% smooth blend. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this and then come back into with the next part of the cut. Alright, for this side it's gonna pretty much work the same way. I already had started on this side, you know, at the beginning of the video. So basically what I'm going to do is just go ahead and work this the exact same way I did the other side. But I will say this before I go ahead and let you watch this. Don't overcomplicate the fade. Just make sure you work between your guards. Remember where you are in the fade, and you should be fine. Alright, now as for the back of the fade, it's pretty much done because of what I did on the sides, but there's still this little patch that I have to get, so I'm going to just basically apply the same principles that I did on the side to the back, just so I can make sure it's 100% smooth going from the bottom to the top of the fade. So I'm going to go ahead and let you watch this, and then I'll come at you with the next part of the haircut. Alright, now on this part of the haircut, basically all I'm doing is prepping for the edge up, and with this, the only thing I did was I took a very small amount of hair, and I brushed it out. What I'm doing now is actually cutting it down to a manageable length, and that way the edge up, it stands out. At the same time, it's still covered up by the top part of his hair. So what this is going to do is cause for the edge up to stand out more, and also for it to last longer. So I'm going to go ahead and finish doing this and come into with the next part of the haircut. not too much explaining to do when it comes to edging a beard. It's pretty straightforward. You don't want to go down too far from their natural length. You want to kind of place your edges on the part where you can see a clear contrast between their skin and the hair, and just go ahead and go with that natural shape and let the rest take care of itself pretty much. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish shaping this beard up and getting everything right with that, and then I come into with the next part of the haircut. Alright, now as for the edge up, I start all my edge ups pretty much the same way. What I'm going to do is go ahead and take my edges. I'm going to use the corner of the blade, and I'm going to start in the seep shape portion of the edge up. I'm going to get as natural as I can with this, just because I don't want to compromise the shape too much on this edge up. So I'm going to use the corner because it also gives me more control over the shape that I make. Alright, now as for the next part of the edge up, I'm going to go ahead and go to the box portion of the edge up. And in order to achieve the definition or the detail that you're going for in the box portion, what you want to do is go ahead and place your clippers where the majority of the hair stops. But you also want to be careful not to go too far back and compromise the shape of the edge up, because it looks horrible growing back. So you don't want to go back too far. Just make sure your clippers are sharp and precise, and yeah, so just go ahead and attack that part of the edge up and you should be fine. Alright, now as for the front of the edge up, the same rules are going to apply as far as obtaining the detail, but with the front of the edge up, according to the shape of his head, of course you're gonna align according to that. But you want to get the edge up going as straight across as you can, and I like to start in the middle and work my way in the corner. That way I can make sure that everything is going straight across and everything will be level on both sides. Alright, as for this side of the edge up, the same rules are going to apply. We're going to do the exact same thing that I did on the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you watch this, then I go ahead and come back at you with the next part of the haircut. Alright, edging up the back is very self-explanatory. The only thing you're going to do is run the clippers over the natural shape of the neck, where the hair stops at, just so you won't take it in too much. And I'm going to apply the same thing to both sides, and I'm going to go ahead and come back at you with the final part of the haircut. Alright, now for this part of the cut, I've already picked the hair out, and what I'm doing now is just shaping the hair on the top of the head. The only thing that you have to do is just go ahead and knock the dead ends off, any pieces of hair that may be sticking up after you picked it out. And I just want to knock everything to the same level, and that way everything is going to be smooth and even. Alright, now as for this part, all I'm going to be doing is applying the curl sponge to give it the kinky look on top of the head. When applying the sponge, you want to go in a clockwise motion. You want to go over the head repeatedly. And I know it may seem like you have to go extra harder on the hair, put a lot of force on it, but you don't. It's all about the repetitive motion, and if you do that enough, you'll get the hair to the texture that you wanted. I was just about wrap this haircut up. If you would, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I will be coming out with more content every Sunday, so until the next video, you could take care.